have some new and then also some returning Innovative Unicorn Challenge participants. So if you're new, welcome. And if you are have been in it before, welcome back and glad to have you again. So we'll go through this somewhat quickly just for the sake of time, but we want to answer any questions that some of the newbies might have for sure. So this is kind of where we're heading, just looking at kind of a brief introduction. I was excited. We have, I think, 5, 6 teams this year. We're going to actually skip the icebreaker. We're going to take that out of there. Program logistics, including a couple of new kind of opportunities, resources, potentially like an online summer workshop opportunity. And then, of course, we would love all you to come to the banquet. So kind of the core team really is Erin and myself. If we ever need like some help or kind of backup, sometimes we rely on Amy Timmerman from Holt-Boyd counties, as well as Lauren. She has kind of some ag literacy pieces. And I guess I forgot to mention that I'm Brittany Vanderwell from Fillmore Clay counties. And my coworker Erin Nygren, who is up on a hill waiting for some planting necessities and stuff, are kind of the co-creators, you say, of this program. Erin is focused in agronomy, and I'm focused in 4-H youth development. So we kind of balance each other out that way. So these are the teams that we have for this year. Um, let's see. I think that, yeah, I might have not, yeah, we have Washington, York, Saunders, Antelope, Saline, and Keith County was a furthest west if they're able to participate and complete the program. So have a good variety of teams. We're going to skip that part. So just a little bit of information. So we're in our 13th year of the program. We kind of started and continue with the whole basis of trying to engage youth in like crop science education. So exposing them not only to some of the like STEM principles and agriculture principles, but also some of the careers that are out there as well. And so we have almost reached, if all of you complete your plots, we will have reached over 100 teams and getting close to maybe 50 that actually successfully harvest and analyze plot data. We certainly understand that sometimes things come up over the summer, whether it's storm related or just kind of an oops, somebody didn't treat one of the plots the way that they were supposed to, or just some of those types of things that happen. And then we are getting close to reaching 300 youth with some of the supplies, lessons, and stuff that we have. This is just essentially to say we did do kind of a deep dive this last year, taking a look at some of the youth that have participated in the program. And I'm just going to quickly glance over this and just say that there are a majority of the youth that actually are in agricultural related careers. A lot of them are agronomy, but some are in the other agricultural sciences, and that's okay. We just need lots of good, bright agricultural students such as yourself to get into the agricultural field. So this is a little bit about the program. So I'll take a little bit more time through this for some of our new teams here. So we have like a project proposal due essentially like June 15th. This is pretty flexible. So the whole point is just so that the teams themselves will have actually thought about like what it is they're implementing. Now, obviously, being in the middle of May, if you were doing a population study or something like that, you already have this kind of figured out already. So, if you've been able to plant. So it's a very just kind of simple form, just getting you to kind of think about what it is that you're going to test. Then throughout the growing season, we highly encourage you to scout as much as possible. Some teams do it on a weekly basis, some maybe every other week. It's pretty flexible for yourself and your team. The thing we do encourage, though, is to take lots of pictures. Just try to observe because sometimes those pictures and stuff can really be worth 1,000 words, and really cool to see what you might be finding. Um, then at the very end of the growing season, you'll complete a harvest report and then share an ag literacy project or piece that we'll get into a little bit later. And so again, just the more pictures and documentation and stuff you have, the better it can make things kind of in the end. And then the one thing that we want you to do is celebrate your success. We have generally had a banquet in January. This is always hard with school schedules and everything else, but we enjoy having youth come to campus. Some of the youth have been to campus many times, and some maybe have not. So just having a chance to actually come to University of Nebraska on East Campus. So, Aaron, I don't know if you are available to talk just a little bit about kind of the layout. And I did put in kind of the exciting piece that we have of like our kind of 2.0 option in there a little bit later here.
So we want at least a minimum of 1 acre of your check plot, which would be kind of your baseline. So if that's what you've always grown corn that way, that'd be our check. And then we'd have the 1 acre that you're trying whatever you want to do. If it's seeding rate, like Brandy mentioned, maybe it's a nitrogen rate, maybe it's some other product, just so we can compare those two treatments together. So that'd be the baseline. But what we like to do is give you bonus points if you do go above and beyond. So one thing we really stress with Nebraska Extension is on-farm research. So we like to do replication. So the bad thing with only doing one strip compared to another, maybe you just pick a better side of the field. So maybe the treatment does better, but maybe it's just that side of the field always does better. So if we'd replicate that multiple times, and then the other thing we like to do is randomize it. So we try to do those things. So Brandy, do you have another slide then with that layout? There you go. So this would be a paired comparison. So say we're going to try to compare two different things. So we do some buffer rows, we do 8 rows of whatever our treatment is. So this is kind of a nice layout depending on what you have for planter size and then also combine size. So paired comparisons work really well. So in this situation, if we're planting 16 rows but harvesting 8, it makes it really easy to get the comparisons there. Sometimes it doesn't work out. If you're, planting 24 and picking 12 works out well. But sometimes maybe this doesn't work or isn't as easy. So it just kind of depends. But the nice thing with this layout is we get 7 comparisons there. So we get a lot of power statistically to say whether the treatment really actually worked or not. So that's always kind of our goal. If you have a good layout like this, I know we always have kind of like a December deadline for the data, but if you would get that to us a little bit earlier, even we could actually include that in our on-farm research book. I know we've had a few teams have done that in the past, but just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, and Aaron, I would mention the Nebraska Corn Board is the sponsoring organization of this, and they're also big supporters of on-farm research. Correct? So it just was kind of like
Yep.
a win-win situation that two projects are kind of working together.
Yep. So yeah, so this kind of goes through what we give then. So bonus points. So I think it's 5 points for every replication up to, I think we do a max of 3 or 4. So we try to not reward somebody for doing 10 replications. Maybe we should, but those things help. So if you have any interest in that, or if you have any questions on how to lay those out, we have plenty of protocols. We have lots of educators in the system who are pretty good at setting that up too. So
kind of a new thing we had in kind of a conversation with some other teams was trying to expand. Usually we're a small number of teams that participate, and that's okay because this is a like intense program. It's not just a one and done program where you're done in a day or an hour. So we kind of open this up, hopefully trying to get a few more teams. So if like the first track doesn't quite go for you, or maybe it's a barrier to get something set up, maybe you don't have necessarily access to some fields or something like that. So we've kind of put a call out to some industry partners, and we've heard from several that are willing to work with us. They just said if you find anyone in the area, let us know. Haven't necessarily heard from any teams that say, "Hey, we're needing a team" or anything, but this is new, so maybe we have not promoted it well enough. But essentially, the goal is to work with an industry partner. So I'm just going to use an example down here in Fillmore County. We have Norder Supply that is in various locations across the state, and got a good working relationship with the people down here, the Fillmore Thayer County areas, and they are very willing if they have a farmer that's trying to compare maybe a new product or something out there to work with the team. And so the team can kind of go out there with this industry rep. They can scout the field. Again, this is kind of new for us, so it's a pilot, so we're pretty flexible on like how this would best work, but kind of some guidelines we kind of came up with are for the teams to scout the field at least 3 times a year with them. So, you could do it here May, June, July, but then we would like the team to kind of review some of the harvest data or the results and stuff with the industry representative, so they kind of know, oh, like obviously this is kind of the end result, and maybe this is why, and just try to troubleshoot some of those different kinds of pieces. Again, this is just kind of a new opportunity, and so if we do have some of our teams actually go through with this, we know that it's a little bit well, a lot different kind of from our first and most traditional option. So we'll have like a couple different like tracks or kind of different awards, because obviously if you're not like out there having to actually harvest or plant and stuff, it is a little bit easier, but nonetheless, there's still a lot of educational pieces that can be going on. And it does help industry because, sometimes they need to get a lot of product out there and do a lot of testing. And if they can get some data on, a certain soil type in, one part of the state, and, not to mention like different rainfall amounts in another part of the state, and all those different variables, sometimes that's beneficial to them. So if you are not sure what product it is that you're going to apply, or what practice it is, and want to either reach out directly to somebody that maybe you already have that contact with, feel free to do that. And if they have any questions, certainly they can reach out to Erin or myself. Or if you need some help kind of making those types of connections and stuff, again, reach out to us, and we are willing to do that. And also, I would say that we're pretty flexible with this program. So if you know of like a team or something in another school, whether it's a FFA chapter or a different county in 4-H, that like was interested in this, but just maybe didn't understand this particular component and wasn't able to contact us, there's still time to kind of join. I mean, we obviously would need to know within maybe a week or two, but just have them reach out to Erin and I, and we would be more than willing to work with them.
I had
Anything
a
else?
quick question on
Yeah.
that, Debbie. So we have ours, the way the boys have our project set up this year is a little different than what we did the last time.
Okay.
But we were planning on going out twice a month with a different agronomist each time. Does it
Oh,
have to be like the same one, or is it okay? Because like I think we have 6 or 7 different agronomists that they're going to be working with throughout.
yeah. I mean, the same field and stuff though, or the
Same,
same.
same field, yeah,
Oh,
same.
yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely. Yep.
okay.
That's absolutely, yep, very valid. So, honestly, I think that's great, because I think they're maybe making some more networks, connections, and, might learn things a little differently. So yeah, fantastic. Erin, anything else to add, or?
No, I think that sounds good. Yeah, it's just trying to come up with ways to expand. We know this is a great program, so just any way to get some other people some opportunities, I think. So
Yeah, fantastic. Okay. So again, during the growing season, scouting your plot, sometimes you might see some observations and you think, oh, wow, this product or this plot is definitely going to out yield the other one. And come to the end of the season and you harvest it and it might come out, less or about exactly the same. So again, just recording any differences, taking some pictures. On our website, we have some resources. If you've never scouted a field, just a very general, basic piece on some things to look at, identifying any pests that are out there. Definitely the important piece is recording products and stuff that you have out there, the amounts when you applied and those types of things. And hopefully you're learning along the way and hopefully having some fun with your teammates, your advisor or sponsor. And yeah, those are some of the key pieces. So then after harvest, again, we have that harvest report. We kind of call production records your scouting forms. Sometimes we get yield maps or other data that teams are able to handle or download and stuff like that. So sometimes we'll get those pieces. We'll get into and talk about the ag literacy piece here in a little bit. Let's see, Amy, I just saw your question, the proposal. Yeah, so the whole entire University of Nebraska, including city campus, did a website major overhaul. So that's good to know that proposal link isn't working. And I will make a note here to let our web person take a look at that. And for now, I can email you all that particular form so you have that. And yeah, get those fixed. Great. I appreciate that you let us know that. So speaking of CropWatch and the website, so if you have never been on CropWatch before, I highly encourage you to take a look. There's lots of great timely news articles and updates. So if something's going on in your field, likelihood that it's probably going on in someone else's field. So we have our extension educators and specialists out there putting out information and stuff there. Also, we have some good weather data out there, if you're curious, what some of those things are. And then also on the website, if you go to where it says, I don't think that this has changed too much, but you go to the part that says crops, it'll have corn production and pests. So really specific kind of to your area, maybe what you might be finding. Yep. So again, this is just kind of, again, all of the resources and information that it has. For the corn challenge, we're under the related topics piece over here under youth and youth activities. So you'll notice there are some other pieces of information like our crop scouting competition and a special agronomy project and some of those other pieces, but that is where to start. Erin had mentioned the On-Farm Research Network. So if you are not quite sure what it is that you want to test yet, there's a lot of great information there. Or if you're just curious, well, I wonder, what's going on in other parts of the state. Again, we have some excellent producers in the area that are undergoing some studies themselves. So something kind of new that I'm kind of excited to offer you all. So in the past, we always offer some kits that'll help you, gather data and make some cool observations. So we started pretty basic, pretty low tech with rain gauge and printed copies of publications and stuff like that. But as things evolve and change, last year, for example, we provided a time elapsed camera. We've given 360 cameras, and some of the teams did an excellent job of utilizing those cameras and getting some really good video footage. So if this is your first year and you're like, yes, I absolutely want this, and need ideas on how to use these, both of those tools I've used before, so I'd be more than willing to, kind of walk you through that. But if I can figure it out, because I'm not the most tech savvy person in the world, I try to pick things that are kind of easy to figure out. I'm sure that all of you can do that. If you have been with the program for a while and you're like, yep, I have those, I'm good to go. I guess we also provided a little mini Telodrone and stuff in the past. But again, if you're new and you're like, okay, been there, done that, we have those tools, rather than just giving you more of these, unless you want them and have, want to do testing or so in, 2 different areas or both of your plots. Some other things that kind of came to mind were there's some really cool resources that you can actually test like your nutrient levels and the amount like of chlorophyll and color and stuff based like on your plant, especially if you're doing maybe nutrient tests or nitrogen. There's some soil moisture sensors, and then also some nutrient and pH soil sensors. So kind of the ones that I've like investigated, I'm a little bit, along with another colleague, are some of the teachers and stuff here probably recognize it. Oh, it's not coming up here for me, but if you're like the Vernier educational piece. So one of the pieces though that or I guess I have kind of looked at is almost $500. So, certainly this expensive equipment, but if I know that you're gonna use it and, especially for like, teachers and stuff out there, you can continue to use it in your classroom as well. We're willing to kind of provide you some of those other options that will help enhance your classroom. Some of these other sensors that I've taken a look at, you don't need like necessarily a little, like they're called like LabQuest device or something. You can just connect it with your laptop because it is available through Bluetooth. And so what I will do, I'm going to get with Erin and we'll kind of come up with a list essentially of like, these are some items that we'll offer, and you can kind of like prioritize what those are. We'll kind of, figure out our budget and see who maybe who wants what, and try to accommodate those the best that you can. Because, we just really want this to be about the educational piece and what will help you, kind of within your study, because you're all going to be doing some different studies. And so we want to make that most relevant to you. Getting to like the ag literacy piece. So just a quick little definition that, ag literacy person essentially knows how the ag industry works. And, they know not just where their food comes from, but who grows it and ag's effect on the economy. So obviously you all know about agriculture because, that's most likely why you are here. But one of the pieces that we, really want to work on, and we've gotten some amazing videos from the past couple years of teams going through and using like drone footage and the time-elapsed videos and actually showing the progression of their project. And, sometimes for youth that might not be very familiar with corn production, that having another peer, kind of taking a look at what agricultural production kind of helps others understand a little bit about what it is. And so that's kind of why we added this piece. The past few years, every team has essentially just done a video. However, we don't necessarily limit it to that. I think, videos can be kind of fun and you all are very talented to do the editing, but here are just some other examples. If you are going through and want to talk about a specific production practice or product, or why it's important for corn to, go through a particular, why it might be important for corn production to, apply that product or something. We do have these kind of quick examples of like infographics. So, a lot of people use Canva or other types of creative tools like that. If you have like a chapter website or 4-H club website or something, or a Facebook post, or even Snapchat or whatever it is, social media wise, and you wanted to just share a bunch of like your reach, we are, definitely willing to that. So these are just some examples. Some of them are from like the Corn Board and Millennial Farmer. Some of you follow them on Facebook, usually have some good pieces as well. So here are just some video examples. We're not going to click on these, but these just, go to the Nebraska Corn Board website, take a look at some of the pieces that they have if you'd like, and you can maybe get some ideas that way. So kind of looking at the rubric, as long as the content has like the corn production focus, we're very, very open to any piece. And the other thing I would mention is that if you go through this process like before the award is due, you'll look at the bottom too, you get some bonus points if you reached an audience over 20 people. So if you shared this at like an FFA chapter meeting, or you had some other kind of local event, you'll get some bonus points as long as you kind of document that, yep, I've shared this. And just because we want, the reach to get out there, not only about the corn challenge, but, just about corn production in general. And I will tell you that the corn board has been very impressed with the videos that some of our teams has done. And that just goes to show the amazing efforts of some of our other teams. Just as a reminder, using some reliable sources, so using a, .org or .edu, usually means it has kind of a research base behind it. Some of these are optional. If you wanted to conduct an audience analysis, that's great. Again, we talked about Canva. I know there's other platforms and stuff out there. That's just one that I particularly use a lot. You could even lead a summer workshop. So if you have some older youth that want to kind of mentor or work with maybe some younger youth, or, even elementary, you can do that. That's just kind of an outside the box idea. You could do a booth at your county fair, any of those types of events. And then again, pictures and videos, they usually recommend to do them in landscape images just because they seem to display better. And just other tips, videos and audio, be sure you're in a quiet place unless you're going to go through and edit it afterwards. And if you're shaky, like sometimes I can be, you might want to consider getting a tripod so that the footage is a little bit better. These are things to avoid. So, these are probably have great information, but they're very busy, and it's a little overwhelming to kind of look at what's the main focus here, what are we trying to get across. These are some other ones. So like the one on the right, corn yields, okay, yeah, for us that know what agriculture is and corn production, we can kind of take a look and know like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe something happened in 2015 that's slower, but for the average public, they're not necessarily going to have an idea of what bushels per acre even means. Kind of the one on the bottom, just pictures, what's going on in those pictures. And then, the one on the left is just kind of more of a controversial topic. So just trying to maybe avoid some of those particular topics. If you are on Facebook, we do have a Facebook page, so feel free to join there. Usually when I send out an email, I try to post to the Facebook as well, and you are willing to, or you are more than able or welcome to provide any other updates or pictures that you want to share on that as well. Talked about the website, so there's just kind of the direct link. We have had a banquet, usually in January. So we kind of go through what every team did, so we can all learn from each other. We've had some instances where we will maybe network with some other UNL faculty, and they'll go over some research that they are doing. This last year we had a very small group, but we had a chance to go through the UNL cafeteria and kind of experience some college life. And so again, we want to reward our teams for all of the effort that they do. This is what I was going to change, and I got busy today. So we have a crop scouting competition that, complements this. It is going to be on August 5th, though, of 2025. But I will send out an email with all that information later on. Here's Erin's and my contact information. We certainly appreciate all of you for sitting here for about 30 minutes. And if you're watching the recording, again, if you have questions after this, feel free to send us an email with that.